Well, power has been restored to Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant after spending hours operating on emergency generators yesterday. It is the seventh time the Russian-controlled plant has lost external power since the war began. Both sides have accused the other of causing the outage. So joining me now is Edwin Lyman. He's Director of Nuclear Power Safety at the Union of Concerned Scientists. Thanks for joining us this morning. At this point, it really doesn't matter which side is responsible. This is a nuclear power plant in the middle of a war zone, and the risk of an accident increases with every day. And it's got a skeleton staff there. So all 6 of the Zaporizhzhia power plant's reactors, they've been shut down. But I want you to explain to people why, even though they have been shut down, it is important to maintain a constant flow of power to the plant.
Sure. So nuclear power plants generally take electricity off the grid to power their cooling systems and other functions. And even after a reactor is shut down, the fuel within the reactor stays dangerously hot. And you still have to provide enough cooling to keep that fuel from overheating and potentially getting damaged. Also, each of the 6 reactors has a pool storing all the nuclear waste from decades of generation. That also has to stay cool. So if power is interrupted, then the plant has to go on backup emergency power, and that can only last as long as the diesel fuel for those generators lasts. And if that runs out, then cooling can be interrupted, and over time, the fuel can overheat and become damaged.
Yeah, so speaking of those diesel generators, we've been told that they can keep things operational for 10 days. But are they reliable? I mean, I don't know what these generators look like. I know what a small generator looks like to keep the lights on in my house, maybe. I can't imagine what these look like to operate an entire nuclear power plant.
Well, fortunately, the standards for these backup generators are somewhat more robust than the ones that you might buy at Home Depot, but they do have to be maintained. And one issue is that the plant's been under Russian control for more than a year. And although there is attention on trying to make sure that there's a proper upkeep of the diesel generators and other systems, and the International Atomic Energy Agency actually has inspectors on site, there have been questions about whether they can be kept up.
So what is the current situation at the plant? It's under Russian control. Are there still Ukrainian citizens there helping to sort of run it? And, what work is being done to protect the plant? What agreements are being put in place to stabilize the situation?
Well, the Russians illegally declared that the plant was its own property and forced the Ukrainian staff to sign contracts, essentially changing their boss to the Russians. And many of them did not sign those contracts, and they're not allowed on site. So right now, the actual number of personnel is much lower than it was when the plant was at full operation. And those personnel are under duress. They are being directed by the Russian military. And that level of stress raises questions about how well they will be able to function in the event that there is a crisis. Now, there have been political efforts on the behalf of the International Atomic Energy Agency and others to try to establish what's called a safety zone, a common sense area around the plant where neither side should be shelling or causing physical damage. But unfortunately, that still has not taken place. And the sad reality is this plant is in the bullseye of the Ukrainian potential counteroffensive, and it is a military objective for both sides to keep. So there is a concern that there may be an attempt to take it over by force, and that could increase the risk of collateral damage of potential accident.
Yeah, no one wants to see a worst case scenario here. Edwin, thank you very much.